And welcome to the Inland Sports Show, everybody. It's Wednesday night. It's shortly after 6 p.m. We hope you are doing well. We hope you are safe tonight. Again, we're talking some sports, but there are some big issues going on in our world and in our local neighborhoods as well that we want to talk about as well. But we will address high school football. Of course, we've been talking about it every single show. What will the upcoming high school football season look like for all of us across the Inland Empire, the CIF Southern section? So we're going to get to that as well. But I'm really excited. Jeff Gorham is standing by. He is at his compound somewhere deep in Riverside County. You know, Batman never says where the Batcave is, but we don't know exactly where Jeff's at, but he is there. Jeff, say hello real quick.
Hello, everyone. I am from deep in the boudoir. Wouldn't that be called boudoir, the bedroom?
You are always on your bed. I don't know. Don't you have another place in your house where you could do the show besides your bed?
When you have like three boys and a wife who's like a genius, who's doing all this work on her computer stuff, the only place I can go is either my bed or my closet. And I figure this at least I can lay here and feel good because I haven't got much sleep in the last 3 months. I'm telling you, I'm tired.
All right, there's Jeff, and we're going to work this Zoom thing out. I think I've finally figured out how to do Zoom and kind of utilize it for the show. We've got the great DeChon Burns, head football coach at Linfield Christian, joining us as well. Coach, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, fellas. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Hey, listen, man, there is so many things we want to talk about, and of course, you probably know what we want to talk about, and how it relates to the sports world and high school football, because I seem to get the question all the time, is high school football going to start on time, and how many games are we going to play, and all that stuff. But before we even get to that, I just wanted to get your take on what's going on with the protests, across the country following the death of George Floyd in Minnesota, Coach. And I consider you a friend. This is a safe place. We can talk. I just wanted to get your take on it because, I know your heart. I know you're a good guy. You're gonna come straight. So I just want to hear what you have to say, and then Jeff and I can chime in and tell you what we think.
Yeah. Well, I think that the first part of it is the apologetics of things. I think is that's important, but I think it's more of the recognizing that there is something that's broken. I think it's important to recognize that there is racism. I mean, there is. And it's not an easy topic to discuss or handle. I don't get into putting a political spin on it. I mean, I just call it like I see it and call it what I've dealt with. And I think the way society is set up nowadays and the way things are, there's so much hypersensitivity to so many things that it makes it, you instantly become one side or another if you voice your opinion on something, and then you got to start defending that, and there's justifications for this or that. With the protest, that was not right. That was not just. I mean, that was murder. There's no justification for what happened, right? So the knee to the neck or the back of the neck with the amount of time and the things that I've read. I mean, I'm not in the police force, so I can't begin to tell you how they were trained, but from what I've understood through media and reading, that's something you're not supposed to use, right? That's not the force you're supposed to use. That was using it for the extent of time, especially when the man was not compliant. I personally have not watched the video. I watched the first, 5 seconds it was sent to me. I saw about the first 5 seconds of it, and the harsh and sad truth is that I don't need to watch that movie again, right? You know what I mean? I don't need to watch that again. This is not the first time we've heard "I can't breathe." There were shirts in the NBA people were wearing at basketball games some years ago that said "I can't breathe" because of a situation, and it wasn't the knee; it was the chokehold. Years ago, right? The chokehold that was barred. If you look back into it, chokehold was taken out of use because that was now illegal, right? So I didn't need to watch that to be reminded that things aren't right when people are pulled over. On the same token, I have people in my family that have been in my family. I have kids that I've coached. I have friends that are in law enforcement, and I know those guys, and I know their hearts. I know they're good dudes. So it's not anti-cops, anti-police, anti-law enforcement. It's anti-racism, and then the tactics that are used towards people of color. I cannot tell you that doesn't exist. I myself, was in college and was at the hands of, being profiled and detained and, hemmed up. And that was on the aftermath of the Rodney King. No, check that. I'm sorry. It was prior to the Rodney King riots and stuff that happened with the civil unrest with Rodney King, right? So stay on track with the protest. There's a place, right? And so you'll see peaceful protest, and you'll see that, and then you'll see a shift towards all the violence and the mayhem that's happening, and then you're getting tidbits of who's really behind it. So for me, it's like, what source am I putting my eggs in the basket on? You hear about this Antifa stuff. I mean, I don't want to get too heavy, but I mean, I think we have to talk about it. They didn't start it, and there weren't some people that were peacefully protesting. They weren't doing it. Here's some other people breaking windows out, and they're going on. And all of a sudden, there's intercepted emails or text messages saying, go over here and start this unrest. And that's what you're hearing, right? You're hearing all of this stuff. So what do you believe? And then the media comes out and you see a video, and all of a sudden that's the truth, until you do a little digging and find out, there's a little twist here. Is everybody compliant? Probably not.
Well, Coach,
but it's
Coach, what struck, if I can just jump in real quick, what struck a chord with me was, and to be honest, I've been trying to stay off social media as much as possible right now, but you posted a video, and it really hit home with me because you said you could hear sirens from your own home, and I listened to your whole message, and I thought it was powerful. It hit home to me too, because a lot of us, we want justice, and we're all for the protests, but when it gets a little chaotic and the looting and the rioting starts, it's a little scary, especially as you said you could hear the sirens. Talk about that video you posted on Facebook and what you were thinking when you posted that.
Yeah, I just noticed for the last little bit that we're constantly hearing sirens, where I live at, and they're up and down. I'm out in the Marietta Temecula area, and so you're constantly hearing sirens, and more than usual. There's traffic accidents, you hear those, but these don't sound the same. And I'm not an aficionado or expert on the sounds of sirens and what an ambulance sounds like and a police car. However, I do know the frequency of them is more. And so for me, I'm like, wait a minute, like every time I turn around, I'm hearing a siren here, a siren there. It's ripping and running up and down. And then obviously with the immersion of the protests, and there was a protest out here Monday, I think it was, or Saturday or something like that. There was a protest out this way. Then there was another one that happened, I think, on Sunday. So Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, something like that. They had a couple back-to-back protests. Just began to hear the sirens. It's like, wait a minute, and they're happening at different times of the day. And after a while, it's like, wow, I'm like, I've been hearing more sirens than I've ever heard in my entirety being out here. And, whether I'm training, whether I'm in my garage working out with the boys or I'm doing a little work, you're hearing them over and over and over. And I just at the end of the day, the graveyard doesn't have segregation. I don't know where religious beliefs are, but I know heaven don't have segregations, and hell sure don't have segregations. So all this stuff that's happening, it's just not checkers. There's something bigger than that, and we're getting caught up on this, and there's some unrest going on. So can that stop? And then when that stops, maybe peace or some understanding. ideally peace, but it's just understanding and recognizing that there's some hurts and there's some concerns. I mean, I have two boys, right? And there was a curfew that was invoked yesterday, 2 days ago now, I think it was, right? And so I know my sons want to go get something to eat, and I found myself concerned, and I didn't like that, right? I'm concerned about my kids. Like, hey, man, I'm caught out. He's just going to get a burger. The other one ran to the store real quick, and it was 5:45 ish, and 6 o'clock was supposed to be the curfew, and so I found myself thinking to the days when I was in school at SC and the Rodney King riots happened, and we had a dusk till dawn curfew when I was in college. And if you were caught on the street, it wasn't necessarily great for you. So I remember being in my dorm room and kind of concerned about going outside. So that's kind of where it sparked those feelings. I woke up and was listening, kind of heard another sign, and then social media, if you're not mindful, it can tear you up, right? Because there's a bunch of junk on there. So I try to keep it about the kids and what's happening positively, but I just got tired of seeing it and was like, look, like this kind of needs to stop. We gotta talk to each other, right? And find out what the feeling is. I posted something a little while before that just saying, engage me. If you're concerned or something, just engage, let's talk. I appreciate the apologies, but if I can be honest, if I don't feel guilty or bad or convicted about something, I have no reason to apologize, right? And that doesn't discredit somebody coming from a place of sincerity, but what are you apologizing to me for? Unless you kind of felt that way and we want to get some closure to it. The stronger piece is let me know that, hey, I recognize it, I see it too, and what's the deal? Like what was it like? Like, man, really? I never really paid attention to it, and I see it. I see it for what it is, and it's not right. So that's what sparked it, and it kind of hit a chord. And then on the top of, I had really couple good close friends pass away. One of my mentors in college in coaching passed, Jose Lewis, and it just kind of, snowballed, mushroomed on me. So,
well, Coach, I know you're a man of God, and I don't, at least for the Inland Sports Show, I don't let my, my personal life or my personal opinions, come onto this show very often. It's strictly sports. It's strictly talking football and X's and O's and who's going to win league and all that stuff. But I know you're a man of God. So is Jeff. I am as well, and I just feel like it's spiritual warfare right now. It's good versus evil. This is beyond race. This is beyond black or white or brown or anything. This is, the Bible says that the devil is here to steal, kill, and destroy. And yes. That's my personal opinion. I know there's a lot of people out there watching the show maybe that doesn't agree, and that's okay if you don't agree. We can all have our own opinions, and that's fine. But right. I just think the devil's winning right now. I just think it's spiritual warfare right now, good and evil. Yeah.
He's roaming the earth like a lion, like looking to steal, kill, and destroy and devour it and mess it up. I was having a discussion with a friend yesterday, and said, look, God's not the author of confusion. Period, point blank, end of story. When he moves, that thing is clear. It's clear cut. When he moves, it's you'll see it, you'll understand it. So all this confusion that's going on, that's not his doing. He's not the author of confusion. And wrapped up in that, all lives do matter. Yeah. I was talking to another good friend that felt, all lives do matter. However, Black lives do matter. And as a man of color, I gotta agree. Like my life matters, and I don't like feeling a little nervous for, when I get amongst, if I'm in the midst of an official at the stoplight or something, look over and make eye contact. I would like to make eye contact and, hey, how you doing? What's going on? But there is a little sense of uneasiness considering, what happens. And I'm not a law-breaking dude. I don't run around tearing stuff up and carrying on. That's not me. But there is a little sense of anxiety, and that's just the reality. And so that is part of the spiritual warfare because it's part of confusion, right? So it's about being focused and keeping your eyes, we say it all the time over in the Lions Den, keep the main thing, so keep your eyes on the prize, keep the main thing, and I got to walk in that truth, right? I mean, it's ugly, and I think it's just awakening people that might not have been aware, and they want to it's easier to put a tag on it, right? It's this, or it's that, or it's that guy's fault. Pep, Jeff, it's you. No, DeChon, it's you. No, this is this ugly thing over here, and it's real, and it's full of confusion, and it's for spiritual garbage. It's for just hey. I mean, just think about what it entails. All the stuff that's happening is all anger fueled, right? On either side, it's anger fueled. I mean, people are lashing out, doing things to people for no reason. You got people that are not of color that are in the protests and getting slammed to the ground and thrown aside. Guys are getting beat. An officer, I just saw something where a guy was 2 days before, I guess he was on work. He was a law official. He couldn't take a knee because he was at work, right? And then on his day off, he wanted to join the protest and take a knee. So I guess he was in Orange County and went in to talk to a supervisor about taking a knee. And then they told him he couldn't, so he resigned. And once again, such as you guys on the line right now, I try to stay clear of all the garbage. But I'll see clips where there's officers that are taking knees, right? And so they're part of the protest and they're handing waters out. And there's like, go do it. We recognize it. We see it. Be peaceful. There's guys speaking up saying, hey, this wasn't right. So there's a disconnect, right? It's disjointed in our system. There's a huge disjointment. And that's disheartening because that's not really, at the end of the day, that's not what the body of Christ is supposed to be about if we're walking in the body of Christ. And not everybody is, obviously, or there wouldn't be any downstairs and upstairs. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be like that. So, I get it. I don't like it, but that's what it is. But I got to keep my eyes on the prize, right? I got to keep the main thing. So, our house.
Well, Coach, we also wanted to talk football with you as well because, another conversation we've been talking about quite a bit. And as you know, my kids go to a private school and you're at Linfield Christian that, there's been a lot of conversation that private schools will have, we'll call it like a head start on some of the public schools because these private schools, they have a little bit more liberty. Like my daughter plays volleyball and they're going to be starting practice very, very soon at a private school. And here we find the public schools just kind of toiling still and they're not sure like when they're going to come back and when practice can start. I mean, if you can, like, does Linfield Christian, do you guys have like a date when you might be able to start practicing? Do you think it's going to be soon? Because I just feel like public schools just have their hands tied right now and private schools are just trying to move forward.
Yeah, I think it's kind of crazy because we're operating on a hospital. Our administration is doing a great job of dealing with this stuff. We're dead period right now. And so should everybody else be pretty much. If you look at the grand scheme of things, for us older guys that played back in, when there were leather helmets and all that stuff, football season started in September, ended mid-December. There was a CIF championship that was in mid-December. It wasn't state and all that back then, right? You just were deemed, whatever. And everything was fine. Right? August, you went to camp. Thinking in September, you began to play. And week before Christmas break, season was over. That's it. Guys were taking their college visits and all that, Christmas break, and right before a coaching convention and before the NC2A college shuts down. I believe there'd be a football season. We're dead, and we presumably, things if everything is right and we get the mandates from the higher authorities, we pick up our season. We're set to start in July, like July 6th. That's when we're set to start summer. So we're operating with that in mind. And if something is different, we just got to stay ready. That's it. The only thing that we've missed is spring ball. Oh, okay. What is that really? It's grass drills, right? It's understanding what your team is. That's what spring ball is. It's football IQ, football 101, grass drills. Maybe you're throwing, maybe you're not throwing. but you're understanding that you have a new football team. Your seniors are gone. You got to find out what the beginning of your identity is. So you really haven't missed much. Oh, you're missing a ton of work. I don't know. Are you, if it's all based on eating steel and running around in the grass? There's other ways you can do it. People were innovative and began to Zoom meet. I mean, we Zoom. We were having team meetings, with the allowable time that we could do for our spring ball. So our spring ball was Zoom meetings. Just get our football IQ right. Let's kind of do it like it should be done, right? I'm in a home with the kid that's in school right now. So while I'm meeting, the oldest one, Channel 2, he's in the other room having his DB meeting, right? So we're not far off, and they're meeting and conjoining and figuring stuff out, and you're talking ball, you're talking shop. So getting your guys ready, getting the IQ right before you go put your hand in the dirt. It's you gotta learn what you have, and you're gonna find out what your identity is in the summer, right? You'll find out what your football team is in the summer, realistically. So I think we're fine. I got to control the controllables. I can't.
Being in your program for so long, you also know every kid in your program, so the guys that are going to step up. I think it's harder for like a new coach. If there's a transitional coach, I think it's very difficult during this time because you really don't know your identity. You don't know your team. But like Ken Batdorf, who's been doing it for 100 years, you still know those freshmen, those sophomores, those juniors. So basically, this is like you said, this is old school football. There is, it wasn't year round. It was you show up, you lift, and I think maybe it will be a refresher for everybody to kind of take a deep breath and get back into what football and high school sports should be. You got to take some time for the family. You got to take some time to heal. And I'll tell you what, this is, I think personally, because I coached forever and I got out of coaching because I didn't want to do the year round thing because I do have little boys just like you do. I think this has been a blessing in disguise as far as coaches like you who have great programs.
Thank you. I agree. I mean, even when I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago when CIF said you theoretically could start practice as soon like the day after you lost your last game. Some people went all in on that, and that's not me. Look, you need to do some other stuff. Like you need to go throw some rocks, ride some bikes. You need to go shoot some hoops, wrestle. Yes. Take a minute, get away. You need to go do something in the winter. Like all the football all the time. That's bananas, right? I don't need a specialty guy. If I'll probably ruffle some feathers, but if the ultimate goal is to get to college, and I might know a thing or two about what that looks like. I need a guy that has some stuff in his belt. And if I want, and I'm program X, and I have a budget where I can recruit, and I want a position specific ultimate lineman, I know that when I was at UTEP, I went to Germany for 4 days. I'm just going to leave that. We're in Germany doing a clinic, and I was able to get to Cologne, Dusseldorf, Dortmund. I was able to see some 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" jokers running around town. Look, and they can run pretty good, and they're doing it in the snow, and they got good grades. So if I wanted that, right, I can go do that. But it's high school. And I get it, that people are getting offers and all that stuff, but that's a whole different. You might have to do a different show on that, but you gotta, slow things down. So it has been a blessing. Slow it down.
Hey, Coach, it's funny you say that. Are you familiar with Reggie Tompkins? He was the principal at Santiago. He's now with the Riverside County Office of Education. He's one of the superintendents, in fact.
Yeah. Yes. Did he ever play at Eisenhower?
I don't know, Jeff. Did he play at Eisenhower?
Years ago?
did. I think he did. Yes.
He was a quarterback at Ike when they were loaded, when they went and ran through everybody. Yeah.
So I actually
Uh-huh.
talked to Reggie. He and his daughter Autumn is a star soccer player at Santiago High School now, and it's funny because he's saying exactly what you guys are talking about. The fact that his daughter, who's a student athlete who plays soccer all year round, was forced to shut it down for like 2 or 3 months. And it could be a blessing in disguise. It gave her a chance to kind of refresh, recoup, let her body just kind of relax for a little bit, because she probably otherwise wouldn't have. But she was forced, and she made the most of it. She's refreshed. She's ready to go.
Definitely. Well, the thing is, guys, the body has so many hits in it, right? It has so many kicks. It has so many swings. Nobody knows that number. Your body and God knows. That's it. And when it goes out, it goes out. So if you shoot your guns early, you're bad on the back end. So what I'm working, I'm grinding. We're constantly working. What is that for me? What does that mean? You can only do so much. Even the pros that I deal with, I'm not out there with them like that. And these guys they're the guys that you're playing on Madden with, right? These are guys that you're using on the joysticks. And I got one, a couple days a week. That's it, hour and a half. So 3 hours with me. And then he does something else another couple days. And we talk all the time about what it looks like to be a pro. So if the desire is to get to the pinnacle position, understand what that looks like and how it works. It's working smarter, not harder. Don't I had a fellow coach, collegiate coach, tell me, don't mistake what do you say? Don't mistake accomplishments for success. Activity. Activity said, don't mistake activity for accomplishments and success. That's what he said. And he's a pretty well-known guy. He was like, don't mistake activity for accomplishments and success. And I was like, man, and we began to talk about it. Just busy, I'm out grinding, I'm going to do this, and we're doing this, we're lifting, we're doing that. I mean, man, when does the body rest? When does the mind rest? When are you working on some other things? Believe it or not, schools don't want meatheads, right? They don't want see ball, hit ball, tackle ball guys running around on the campus. That does nothing for the university. That does nothing for the professional organization. They want some guys that bring something to the table. If you can't socialize outside of throwing a football and lifting some weights, you're not well on the campus, right? You can't acclimate. Yeah. So, and go do other stuff. Be a multi-sport athlete. I mean, just do the research. How many multi-sport athletes are there running around doing things? I know when I was coaching or when I was recruiting in college, I'm sorry to be sidetracked. I don't know if you can hear it. Can you hear the sirens?
No.
Yeah.
I hear my dog barking out in the backyard. That's all I hear.
It sounds like a cop, car, fire engine. It's crazy. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Sorry, but here it is. You just you gotta be well rounded, right? You know what I mean? You gotta hit the pause button. It's been good. Coaches need a refresher, right? I go hard. I go real hard, and I don't mind going hard. And that's kind of life. But it's good to be back a little bit and then regroup and look at how you want to do things and have a chance to attack it. I know we're on the advisory committee. We talked about it before the pandemic. One of our last meetings, we were talking about it and how, some of the new rules were going to push things up. And you were looking at not even having coaches were looking at not even having a summer. You know what I mean? Like the time frame in which you had for your dead period and then when you could start. Mm-hmm. The season was going to get kicked up just a little bit earlier even. So now you're talking, you have no summer, and the guys with families, the high school level, it's a different grind, man. You're in college and pros, you understand what you're signing up for. It's a different grind, and I don't know what you get out of going year round. I really don't.
Well, Coach, I got to wrap this up, and I'll be completely honest. I don't pay for Zoom. I guess you can pay to have like the deluxe version where you just go as long as you want. But I don't have that kind of money. I got the cheap one, and it's going to end in about 2 minutes. But listen, I always appreciate you coming on. I consider you a friend. I'm glad we could just talk openly. And I hope we can just get back to some sports. I just want to talk about sports. I want to talk about Linfield Christian playing for a league title and who you guys are playing in your opener and all that kind of stuff. I want to have those conversations too.
Definitely. I mean, I think we all do. I can't wait to get back. I know our guys are chomping at the bit. We can only Zoom so much and talk about, formation and personnel, do all that stuff. Do that so much. And then guys are getting after it and they're starting to open up and work out a little bit. But, it'd be nice to get to that. But all at the same time, recognize that we got to do it as one body and then respect and understand it. Wherever there's injustice, we got to address it. And it's not on your back, my back to carry or hold the burden or try to be the superhero in it. We all got to do this because at the end of the day, we're all sharing the same turf. Somewhere or another, Well,
that's Coach, true. I appreciate it. And yeah, I think sports like nothing other can bring all different races, brown, black, white, yellow, red, whatever, bring them all together and like all of them going for the common goal. They all want to win. They're all on the same team. The only color that matters is the navy blue jersey you wear at Linfield.
Right. Navy blue and white. So true. We have something called common ground. And, I'll be quick. When I was at UTEP, we did something. I did it at our banquet. I kind of gave a bunch of different scenarios and had everybody stand up and then raise their hand on different topics. Who comes from a 2-parent household? Who comes from 1-parent household? Who has brothers? Who's a sister? Who has sisters? Who's a son? Who's an uncle? And all of a sudden, different people are standing up and sitting down, standing up and sitting down. Next thing you know, hey, we're not too much different. We're all in this. But what unites us is football. So, let's just focus on that,
Awesome. Well, thank you, Coach. Yeah, this is my Zoom is going to expire like any second now. Coach, I appreciate it. I hope you're doing well. God bless you, Coach, and let's talk again soon.
Thanks a lot, fellas. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Pep. See you guys.
That's DeChon Burns, head football coach at Linfield Christian. Join us here on the Inland Sports Show, and one of our favorite dudes out there, and a great football coach as well. So we'll be talking more high school football as we get a second. Jeff, are you still there? My Zoom is still going, but
I am here. But I'm really mad. I'm going to go outside right now because my dog got in the mud while we were talking. Oh, I got to beat him. I got to go out and beat him.
Be nice to Thor, man. Thor's the man.
Oh, I love Thor.
Oh, and there he goes. There's Jeff. When we come back, listen, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Tonight's show's just a little bit different. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're just going to do one more segment where we're going to talk about some local sports as well. Again, talking a lot about high school football and some of those fall sports because those are the sports that are on the clock now, right? Fall sports for high school and college are on the clock because they are right around the corner. So let's take a quick break here on the Inland Sports Show. When we come back, more sports talk here with Jeff and myself. We'll be right back.
Congratulations, Bass Class of 2020. This has been a great year of growth and memories.
I just want to say congratulations. We're so proud of you, and we are definitely going to miss you.
Gonna miss you guys. Shenanigans.
Thank you,
Leaders.
Coach Kama. I'll
Studs.
We'll be praying in Jesus' name for complete healing.
Hiding food.
Definitely hiding food.
High academic achievements.
Camaraderie.
Anything, period.
Boost Brothers.
Brotherhood.
Brotherhood.
Great. It's tough.
Yes. Very hard at it.
Nice.
Honest, to do our best.
Enthusiastic. Helpful.
Passionate.
Coach Bass is always ready to make us stronger.
Motivating us.
Coach Bass is always trying to get us prepared for the next level.
Hating. The boost man.
Helping us get bigger. Smart. Making us eat.
Pushing us.
Making us work hard.
Encouraging.
Drinking coffee.
Looks mad.
Gives you affirmations.
Telling us we have a meeting. Starts counting strikes.
Brings us to up downs.
Isn't in a good mood. Doesn't have her coffee.
Gives us a lot of homework.
Talking to a student alone.
When she stares at you the wrong way.
Rolls her eyes. It's super quiet. Yells at someone.
But like when she walks in fast and has her sandals clicking on the floor, it's real hard.
Helps you with the homework. Someone that helps you with form when you're training.
Is caring.
Always has your back.
Looks out for others.
Somebody who can help you whenever you need help with something.
Is an athlete.
Cares.
It's someone you can have fun with.
Goes to boost.
Respects us.
Helps us eat our food.
Yeah.
Cares and is there for each other.
Looks out for others.
The other lunches that we get on Friday sometimes.
Roasting tape.
The working out.
Classmates.
Strength training. The birthday celebrations.
Oh. Coach Bass. Doing speed training and strength training.
Root beer.
The food.
The lunches.
Training. My classmates. My boost people.
The weight training.
Some affirmation.
Don't be late to class.
Don't get affirmations.
Be nice to this bass.
Bring your own food.
Turn in your work.
Push hard.
Eat all your food.
Make sure to eat your food.
Always work hard.
Don't share documents.
Turn in your work.
Yeah, never give up.
Do Spanish.
Grind hard.
Do your work.
Shut up.
Don't get on Coach Ray's bad side.
Make sure you bring the right snack.
Bring a hydro flask.
Stay on top of your homework.
How to treat others.
That doing your work pays off.
How to lift weights is better.
Proper running technique.
Form and working out.
Be smart.
Good food habits.
Stay on top of my grades.
How to get stronger.
So always do your work.
How to become a student athlete. Learn how to keep a good diet.
Being responsible. Coach Bass hates letting us play video games.
Being a better person.
How to convince people to eat my food. Don't be lazy.
To stay disciplined and focused at all times.
The difference between fat food and good food. Form is everything. How to do fractions and math.
Just to be on my work.
So what did Thor do?
Oh, there's a mud. I have a leak in my drip system in one corner, and it's all muddy. And he just goes and rolls around and jumps in, and pulls out all the drips. And I have to go out there and clean them in a minute.
I remember when we lived in Bakersfield, because Bear, our dog that we had, he was part husky. He was mainly husky. Oh, hold on, I gotta roll this real quick. He was mainly husky, and they told us. Hey, what's up, everybody? Don't forget, there's 2 Spoiled locations now. I'm at the brand new one right off the 91 freeway at Arlington. You can spoil yourself. You can spoil your car. You come in here, 10 minutes, you're in and you're out. You're back on the road. Go check out Spoiled, local business, locally owned and operated. And they've got the location off the 215 freeway at Alessandro. And this one, the brand new one here, off of the 91 at Arlington.
I felt spoiled. It was great. I got in easy. I mean, the price was the best. The price is just helped me out. And what I really enjoyed about it is that they explained to me what was going on today. And I feel like when I walked out of here, I just felt so special. I said I had a new boyfriend. His name is Spoiled.
You got your flower.
And I got
yeah.
Computer in.
The Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Spoiled. Quick, quality oil change. Spoil yourself and your car at Spoiled. Kin Sporting Goods. They have all of your sporting gear needs, Letterman's jackets, and team uniforms. Boost Performance Training with Coach Ray Bass. Athletes of all levels and all sports are going to Boost Performance Training in Corona. Mike's Fitness Equipment. Check out the new storeroom on La Cadena. Quality fitness equipment at affordable prices. Mike's Fitness Equipment. And JoJo's Grill-A-Dog, located in the Mountain Grove Shopping Center in Redlands. Let's be frank, not all dogs are created equal.
JoJo's Grill-A-Dog.
And welcome back to the Inland Sports Show. A big thanks to our good friend DeChon Burns for checking in and talking a little football with us and what's going on right now in our country. And again, we are trying to push forward with high school football and the football chatter and what it means for our fall sports, whether it's high school or even college related. In fact, I ran into someone today, Jeff. Actually, Jeff, I got to get your shot fixed over here. Hold on one second. I know Jeff can hear me right now, but hold on one second. Again, this is probably a good point in the show where I say, Johnny Nunez and your team at Teen Vision TV 16, we miss you guys so much because this really stinks being at home. So please open everything up. Let us back into the studio. But Jeff, I was talking to someone today, and man, the thing is, like, nobody knows what's going on, and I feel like we ask our guests the same question every time about how you're preparing for all of these different scenarios of what could potentially happen, because nobody really has answers. Everyone has questions. And I ran into someone today. They're like, well, what's the college season going to look like? Will they have any sort of fall sports and, college basketball and all that? And like I tell everyone else, I don't know, man. Like, we're like in a holding pattern right now.
Well, it's really weird because I work in schools and work for a university, and I will say this: there is something different. I think they're going to do this year. I think that probably I hope school starts normal, but I think we go to Thanksgiving and then we take a sabbatical of about 2.5 months until February 1st, maybe late January. Just during flu season, I think it makes sense. So if you can have football, like Coach Burns said, traditional season, try to get it as close as you can. You might lose a couple non-league games, but 2 months you have to play, basically 8 games. Okay,
wait, hold on. Under the Jeff Gorham setup here, so if we took, let's say, a couple months off right after Thanksgiving, I mean, we do college basketball.
Yeah, I think
could you still play even though there's no class, or?
Yeah, in college you can't. Yes, I mean, because some places do take 6 weeks off at Christmas. So
you're talking specifically for high school, like for high school basketball, would they take 2 months off as well?
See, that's the question I think that CIF's going to have to address, and I don't think they've mentioned, or it hasn't been addressed. I read the CIF minutes from meetings, and I know that they were looking possibly at a January to June schedule with football. That's 6 months, basically 2 months for football, 2 months, or I should say 2 months for fall sports, 2 months for winter sports, and 2 months for spring sports. So that could be an option, but I hope it doesn't start in January, because then it really does make it tough, because I don't want to distance learn. I don't want to distance teach. I want my kids going to school. And private schools, like you said, are opening up, and I think kids are going to be behind the 8 ball academically and socially if they don't get going soon, because they've already been out 3 months.
Well, I've heard, okay, so here's, regarding at least high school football, here's what I've been hearing. So we just talked to Coach Burns, and he's at Linfield Christian, and Linfield Christian, I can tell you right now, is not the only school who is starting practice for fall sports. Now, he threw out the date July 6th, and I'll be honest, I've heard that date July 6th for several other private schools as well. So here we have, again, these private schools ramping up for fall sports while the public schools still have not done anything. But I have a feeling, and again, Jeff, I'm a patient man by nature. You know that. I also work for the county of Riverside, so maybe I know too much here. But the public schools, I think we're going to see the public schools at least being allowed to return to practices and team workouts and stuff. But I think even if, let's say, the government says, okay, school districts, we are allowing you to return to practices, I think there may be some school districts that don't take them up on the offer. I think there may be some school districts that say thanks, but no thanks. Thank you. We're going to wait another month or two before we start allowing kids back on campus. Because just because you allow them to, we found this out with local businesses. They said, okay, on this date you can open up your business. But those businesses weren't ready to reopen. Some of them had to reconfigure their businesses, and they had to move things, and they had to purchase hand sanitizers and masks. Like they just weren't ready. Even though they were given the green light, they weren't ready. I'm just wondering how many schools, once they get the green light, or teams, who's going to be ready? What if they come out and say, yeah, you can do it, but you need to social distance. You need to make sure that the kids, wash their hands every 30 minutes or whatever. Like, who's going to be ready to hit the ground running is what I'm trying to get to, I guess.
Tennis, singles, tennis,
cross country, right? Cross country.
No, because they beat each other up in cross country. No, singles, tennis, and doubles because they're 6 feet apart usually. No, it's just what you talked about businesses reconfiguring their business. Can you imagine public schools?
Yeah, what's a classroom going to look like?
What is school going to look like? I'm hearing that you're not going to have cafeterias open. I hear everything that you can only have 10 kids in a classroom. Well, what are you going to do with the other 2,100 kids? It's mind-boggling of what they're going to have to do to reopen these schools, unless the numbers just disappear and COVID is gone for a while. I don't know how you can do it, and that's for people that are way smarter than you and I. But something a plan needs to be in place, and I'm guessing maybe by the middle of this month we'll have some sort of a semblance of a plan, so that these school districts can make decisions and figure out what they're going to do.
So the state order for school closures for K through 12, the state order ends on June 19th. And there has been no talk about extending that. So let's just say, at least for our conversation right now, for high schools, the school closure ends on June 19th. And if on June 20th, they say, okay, you guys are back open, get going, we're going to find out real quick which schools and school districts had that leadership to look at the big picture and look ahead and say, okay, when we get the green light, let's say it's June 20th, to resume, football workouts, summer school classes, or whatever that might look like, who's going to be ready? Who's going to hit the ground running, and who's going to be stalled and saying, oh my gosh, we should have took this quarantine time to get our ducks in a row so we can get going?
Well, I think a lot of people would love to do that. I think principals and superintendents would love to be able to take those steps, but I don't think those steps have even been approached. I don't think anybody has walked down the steps to give school districts the idea of what's going on. So you can't really walk up the stairs if you don't know what you're dealing with. It's lack of information is really hampering education. And the longer we put this off, the longer it's going to take to get back.
So we have the Riverside County Office of Education Virtual Summit. In fact, I think I have to go back and look, but I think I tweeted out today's guest. It was Jace Whitaker, who played at the University of Arizona with DeChon Burns' son, Lorenzo Burns. Jace was also a defensive back for the Arizona Wildcats, and he signed with the Arizona Cardinals. So we got him. We've got Centennial High School Athletic Director Bill Gunn. And we've got UCR Athletic Director Tamika Smith-Jones in today's virtual summit. And there's a link right now. If you follow Inland Sports on Twitter, you can click on the link and you can hear all those interviews. But anyways, part of that virtual summit today, I mentioned it with you and Coach Burns a couple minutes ago. We had the chance to talk to Reggie Tompkins, who is, and I forget his fancy title, but it's like Associate Superintendent of Student Programs and Services for the Riverside County Office of Education, something like that. He's a bigwig. He's a mover and a shaker. And he said, and I asked him, usually with interviews, Jeff, and you know how this goes being in the media, I ask all the questions I want to ask, and if there's time at the end, I'll I'll ask and say, is there anything else you'd like to add? Is there something we didn't talk about, or is there something you want to get in there? And at the end of my conversation with Reggie, he said, hey, just know that we are doing everything we can to make the sports season happen. And canceling a sports season is like the last thing on the list. Like that is like the last worst case scenario, that we are doing everything possible to make it happen, and that canceling the sports season is not anywhere near the top of the list. So that was reassuring.
And it also, who's to say it comes back if you cancel it? I mean, it's hard to get people to come back after you don't have something. I mean, people will leave, and I think it would be a disservice to cancel anything, any sport. I think Cal State San Bernardino and that CPA jumped the gun just a bit, because people are still going to play volleyball, and they're still going to play soccer, and they're still going to have golf. So
it's funny you bring that up right now, Jeff, because the friend of mine who I spoke with earlier, she said the same thing. She's like, why did the CC2A come out? This was a couple weeks ago. This was like the middle of May or whenever it was.
Yeah.
And they came out already and said, we're canceling our fall sports. Like, why did they come out so early and say that? And I'm like, you got me, because they're like the only one. Like, nobody else has. No high schools, no other colleges, no other conferences. Like, they just jumped out there in front of everybody. And I don't know, like, look, I always bring back CBU, because I know some of their plans are already in motion to bring students back on campus and play sports and whatnot. But, like, what's the CC2A gonna look like when you see high school teams playing, you see other local colleges playing, we've got, Major League Baseball and NBA and all those things. Everyone's going to be playing, but the CC2A, like, I just don't know. I just don't understand. Maybe we should have a conversation and invite someone from that conference to come on the show, because I just don't understand.
Well, I think it makes it really hard. I mean, I think Cal State San Bernardino, weren't they national champions in volleyball?
Undefeated Division II national champions.
Where do those student athletes go? I mean, do you come back? Do you sit a year and come back? I don't know if you do. I don't know if I'm a 21-year-old student athlete, and I know my time is running out as an athlete, do I want to sit out a year, use a redshirt year, or whatever you use, and who's to say it even comes back next year? Because, I mean, financially, how are these universities going to do this first semester of next year? How are they going to, I mean, is there going to be enough money generated through dorms that they can even support athletics the following year? Which kind of, if I'm a student athlete, I'm a parent of a student athlete, I think I would ask those questions. How do we know that's coming back?
I am trying to find the press release. Let's see, because I want to say they use the words canceled and not postponed. Let's see. This goes back to this is May 18th, and it just says that the CC2A will return to competition when it's safe and appropriate. Man, I'm having a hard time finding it, but they had that press release that said that they were going to cancel the fall sports.
Yes, they did. They did.
Let's see. Let me read this real quick, because I just and everyone was talking about it. As far as this goes, for the fall sports specifically, it doesn't mention it. It just says that they will return. Oh, here it is. Okay, so this was on this was on May 12th, and they said May 12th, CC2A suspends NCAA competition for fall 2020. They have determined that the NCAA sports competition will not occur during the fall of 2020. It just says they advocate strongly to maintain NCAA championship opportunities for all of our student athletes, including our fall sports, during the 2020-2021 academic year, and recommended competition resume when it is safe. So they say they have suspended fall sports for competition, but then they go on to say, and I do remember some people highlighting this because it was kind of confusing, that they would still continue to advocate for NCAA championships for fall sports. So maybe they postpone it. Does that mean maybe after the first of the year, like during the middle of the winter, they would do volleyball and cross country and soccer?
But then do you leave that to, is it just a conference championship? I mean, if you have teams that are playing for national championships, they're already gone. They're going to be already finished up.
Or think, okay, so I guess if you're the CC2A, you can play, let's say, your conference schedule. You'll just play the teams in your conference, and maybe you just crown a conference champion and call it good. Because what if the other Division II schools across the country are like, hey, we're playing. So our fall championships will be in November.
Yeah.
And let's say CC2A doesn't start until November with their fall sports.
Then
like what?
There's no postseason anything. So if you're a student athlete and your ultimate goal is to win a championship for your team, I mean, what's the point of playing in the CC2A?
I don't know, man. I'm just all confused. But again, I only bring it up, and I'm not trying to bury the CC2A, but I had been thinking about it and why they made that decision. But someone did bring it up to me today specifically. They actually have a son that plays baseball in the CC2A, and they were like, "What is going on?" And I just don't know. And after reading that press release from the CC2A, I'm actually more confused now. So I don't know.
Yep, I agree with you, Pep. We're in a weird time when it comes to sports, and a weird time in the world.
Oh man, I wish I could just hit the rewind button about 5 or 6 months.
Yeah, that would be great.
Back to a simpler time. And then this, I was just going through Twitter real quick, and there was is it a 5.5 earthquake in Ridgecrest?
Oh, I felt it when we were doing the show.
No, you did not.
Yes, I did. Because I was on the bed, and I thought I said, man, maybe I'm sitting funny and I'm getting like lightheaded, but I was moving.
No, you must have felt it. It was a real earthquake.
I did. Yes, I did.
Oh, my goodness. All right, let's wrap it up. I know your dog just ate the sprinklers. I got to go get dinner ready. We got all kinds of nonsense going on.
Oh, Pep, I will talk to you again next week. By the way, I am getting off of social media completely for a week. I'm going to do it. I'm going to cleanse.
We all need to cleanse.
Oh, man, I'm going to go bathe in the waters of Gorham in the backyard here, and hopefully I can clean myself of all this just stuff. I'm just tired of stuff.
I've been jumping in the trampoline and watching a lot of Disney Plus right now, to be honest. So, what are you going to do? I just want sports, man. I feel like sports would be the great equalizer. Bring back sports. Everyone loves sports. It's the one thing we can agree on, right? Is we love sports. Yes.
Just stay safe. Wear your face mask, and try not to do anything goofy.
You got it. That's the great Jeff Gorham. Jeff, good talking to you, brother. Talk to you soon.
Next week.
All right, that's Jeff Gorham, live and amplified from Deep in the Fee, as he calls it. Again, thanks for joining us. There's a lot of heavy topics right now, and we can't ignore like they're not happening. And again, you know what? I wanted to share something real quick before we wrap things up. If you're watching us live on Twitter right now, we are going to replay this show on the Inland Sports YouTube channel just a little bit later. But I wanted to share something real quick. Again, I rarely post anything personal on my Inland Sports show or the Inland Sports social media platforms. It's usually strictly sports. Who's going to win the big game? Who's going to win the league championship? Who's the best running back? All those sorts of things. We love sports. That's what we do here. We're not experts in anything else. We just love sports. We're fans, and we like to talk about the sports here in the Inland Empire. But I did want to share this, and I think it's appropriate. My wife, God bless her soul, she is counseling a married couple at our church, and she doesn't know this. But I went over, I've got another computer over here, and I went on my computer, because she had notes. She had created some notes that she was going to use for her counseling session with this couple. And one of the Bible verses that she used, I thought, man, that Bible verse is so appropriate today, yesterday, tomorrow, for everyone. It's Ephesians 4:31 through 32. It says, "Get rid of all bitterness, rage, and anger, brawling and slander, along with every form of malice. Be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another as God in Christ forgave you." Again, I rarely make things personal on here. If you would like to reach out to me and you have questions about my faith as a Christian or anything like that, I would be happy to answer it to you. I am not ashamed of it. I just don't normally let it spill into what we do here on Inland Sports. But considering the circumstances out there in the real world, we could use a lot more love and compassion for one another. All right. So thanks for tuning in. Hopefully next week we'll talk more football, and who knows, maybe we'll have some updates. I know there's some public schools out there that are getting close to resuming some, I guess you call them summer workouts or practices or something like that. So we are getting close, which is a very good feeling to get some sports going once again. My name is Pep Fernandez, and we will see you next time, guys, on the Inland Sports Show.